Hello, everyone, and welcome to How to Bet or HowToBet.com podcast. I'm Daryl Sean, along with Sean the Genius Miller and Remy Rodriguez. And, what a tournament it has been. We are here to break down now there's 8 teams remaining. It goes quick. Once it starts, it goes quick. And Sean, is there a better sporting event in the world? I mean, even you with your soccer have to admit that this is the greatest.
You know what the crazy thing is about this tournament, right? So there's only, we started with 68 and there's only 8 teams left. If you're left, you're only halfway to a title. You got to win 3 more games.
It's an amazing accomplishment.
Win 3 more games to get.
It's an amazing accomplishment to win this tournament. I don't care who you are, where you are. It's an amazing accomplishment. Sometimes people are like celebrating Final Fours. Man, it's tough to win 4 games in this tournament. Man, Final Fours are crazy. As a North Carolina fan. They've been to 20 already. They're 1 win away from 21. I mean, they don't have as many titles as UCLA, but and they don't have as many titles maybe as they should. But man, it's hard to get to a Final Four. That's why when you see what Houston's doing, the year after they went to the Final Four and they got ridiculously underseeded as a 5 at they're 32 and 5 right now. Said that right away. Yep.
Ridiculously underseeded right now. They should be a 2 or a 3 seed. At minimum, they're top 5 team all year. It's hard. It's hard to get back to that point. And you got to have a little bit of luck. In the first couple rounds, and some of these like Duke, got a lot of luck against Michigan State and North Carolina, obviously, and Kentucky, and some of these teams. Obviously St. Peter's. You got to have a little bit of luck go your way in one of these games to get to where you're at. And there are some teams that are out that are pretty good.
You're darn right. They're really good teams.
Didn't get it. I look back, that USC Miami, I went back and forth. I'm like, one of those teams is going to be. I picked USC to go to the Elite Eight. I was just this close because I just didn't think that bracket was very good.
Yeah. Well, I learned a lesson. I'll get to that lesson in a second. Let me remind everybody you're watching us live on our HowToBet.com podcast. Please go to HowToBet.com. You on YouTube, hit that like button, the notification bell, subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. We really appreciate that. We always appreciate you joining us. You want to go down, leave comments at HowToBet.com, do that. And again, we always appreciate you watching and listening to us on our HowToBet.com podcast. It's been quite a ride. We will be back at it next week to give you the winners of the Final Four and then the championship. But right now, our live show here, and Remy Rodriguez, we appreciate you getting this going, keeping us on the air, and getting all these graphics up. Great job, a tremendous job. People see us on there, but it's not always easy to do this and pull it off, and we do appreciate it. So I was pretty good the last couple of nights. I was betting pretty good last night. I had one loser. And it was fortunately for you, it was your UNC team that came out on top. But let's talk about some of the just unbelievable goings on. If it wasn't for St. Peter's and the Cinderella 15 seed, Miami would be getting all kinds of love coming as a 10 seed.
And the ACC.
ACC, yeah, 3 teams.
Everybody's talking about the Big Ten, the big fraud. Let me say something. Purdue, that's the worst loss in the history of no 15 seed has ever got to the Elite Eight. That's a terrible loss for Purdue. And that guy, Matt Painter, they have good teams all the time, and they never do anything.
Why? I know on the defensive end of the ball, Edney is too slow for that kind of game, but he only touched the ball 7 times. They had St. Peter's would have had no answer. He was 5 for 7 in 14 minutes. He played 14 minutes. He was 5 for 7.
Let me tell you something. How many times do you think Baycott and Manick are going to touch the ball on Sunday? They're going to get the ball a million times. Baycott should have 35 points in this game. Manick should have 35 points in this game.
Edney should have touched the ball at least minimum 20 times. They would have had no answer for him. He was two bodies higher than everybody else. It's so 5 of 7, 14 minutes he played. That to me was a little telling on Matt Painter's coaching decisions there. But hey, all right, so let's talk a little bit about the St. Peter's team before we go into in depth. because that's what everybody wants to know. Look, the MAC conference it's a good conference. I'm around it. I've been around it for 30 years. I see pretty much every game played. I did multiple St. Peter's games this year as far as broadcasting. It's a good team. They are tenacious defensively. They are they really get at you defensively. Offensively, they had struggled until the tournament. I mean, they've had a few good games offensively, but until the tournament, they really struggled. Eddard came on this season for them. Banks is a terrific player. Matthew Lee's a really good point guard. The Defo is terrific defensively. But if anybody, I mean, St. Peter's is supposed to believe. They're supposed to believe. If anybody around the MAC tells you that they are not shocked at this, they are completely lying. Believe me, I'm thrilled for St. Peter's and the MAC conference. It does great things for the MAC conference. But no, again, St. Peter's is supposed to believe in themselves. Nobody could have seen this coming. I don't care what they tell you. If they're telling you, oh yeah, this is not a shock to me, they're lying. This is a shock. This is a complete shock. Again, I'm around this league all the time. It's a competitive league. I wouldn't have been shocked at any team coming out, especially Iona. Look, everybody thought Iona was coming out of this league. Everybody, including St. Peter's. Everybody thought Iona was coming out of this league with Patino. They have studs. They have big time transfer. They have kids that are on the NBA radar. They beat St. Peter's twice in the league in the regular season. Ryder knocked off Iona, or else I hate to say it, Iona probably would have been going to the if Ryder doesn't knock off Iona, Iona's probably going to the tournament, and they're not going to be as successful. Although people think they were, conditioned at this point to win at least a game in the tournament. And would it surprise you if Iona beat anybody in the tournament? No, because they have Patino, they're a great coach, and they have really good players. So again, kudos to St. Peter's. I'm thrilled for them. I'm rooting for them. I know you're not anymore, if you were at all. But nobody could have seen this coming. I'm sorry. I'm seeing people on Twitter and on social media, oh, yeah, this is no surprise to me. Baloney. This is a shock.
Yeah, it's, look, when we talk about Iona, it's all about it's matchups. It's just, Iona they wouldn't have been the 15 seed. They would have been somewhere else. So they would have been playing a different team. You just don't know, what would have happened. I mean, it's all conjecture when you talk about seeding.
I've never seen again, I'm around this conference for 30 years now. See most every game. If I'm not at it, I'm watching it. There's no conference that I've seen throughout the years that is predicated more on matchups than the MAC conference. It is. That's what I guarantee you, Sean. They might not tell you out loud. I guarantee you, there's teams that went to Atlantic City, to Jim Whale and Boardwalk Hall for the MAC tournament, and were hoping that they saw St. Peter's. I'll guarantee it. I guarantee they were hoping they saw St. Peter's in the MAC tournament. Guaranteed.
They couldn't score.
Yeah. When the brackets came out, I just don't want to be on Iona's side of the bracket. I hope we get St. Peter's. I guarantee you those words were said by coaches around the league. Guaranteed. Yeah. And now look where we're at there. And I know they're a big dog again. They're playing their UNC team. At this point, stop being surprised. Stop being surprised.
Look, I will. I mean, obviously, I think North Carolina's going to win. I bet them before the tournament at plus 20. By the way, plus 2,500. I got North Carolina at to win.
Yeah, good for you.
So,
might have again at this point throw out everything you thought could happen. I'll tell you a little bit. I'm going to give you lessons learned that I've learned, but I think I've said this to myself before. Gonzaga is not winning. Whether it's because they play in a weak conference or not, I don't know, but they're not winning the national championship. The Big Ten are frauds, which we knew, and I did stay away from them for the most part this year. The Pac-12 is soft. When these Pac-12 teams have to play these teams from the SEC or the almost any conference that gets rugged with them, they're pushed around easily. The Pac-12 is soft.
Yeah, they got bullied a little
Their
bit last
lessons
night.
learned.
That game last night was, the UCLA UNC. I mean,
Arizona got smacked around by Houston.
Yeah.
They wanted to, I think it looked to me like they wanted to run away and go home before
Yeah,
the
look,
game ended.
I think you could make this kind of case in other, it's almost like equating it to football as well. When the SEC obviously against, some of these teams, the Big Ten is always thought of as like this, the big and strong, whatever. And, SEC is fast. And then same thing that the Pac-12 is always thought of as like kind of like a little softer and, maybe quicker than kind of a mix. But, when you see these teams, I mean, people were talking about the ACC being down this year and they didn't get as many teams in. But, I mean, it's just, the league was pretty good. And like, I want to talk a little bit about these metrics because I think these numbers and these metrics have bled
I'm not into them, but you go ahead.
From baseball and they've bled into, I see it all the time in, soccer and, basketball and base, and it's all this stuff. And it's like this, the FWAR, all this stuff, man. It's for these Ivy League guys who come into the game, have never played the sport, and they make these metrics about these things. And they say North Carolina should be an 8 seed because they have 4 quadrant 1 wins or some nonsense or something like this. And Houston's a 5 seed, even though when I watch them with my eyes, I can see this Houston team is way better than a 5 seed. North Carolina, there's no way they should have been an 8. People were talking about them being on the bubble. I'm like, what are you talking about? This team was good. Like, I don't get it. And it's all these numbers and these nerds and all this stuff. And we got to get away from this in all these sports, man. We have to have some kind of balance because look, man, it's the same thing with betting. Some of these guys, you see these guys that bet, that tell you what games to bet. And they're saying, listen, this is the advanced metrics and all this stuff. Look, man, I'm using my eyes. And we were unbelievable in NFL season because Daryl and I know because we watch the games with our eyes and think about it in our brain and say, look, I don't care what this number says. I'll use it, but I'm not going to base my whole thing on these numbers. And and it's crazy. You have
crazy.
To
I mean, we use numbers when we did the football, and like Sean said, we were unbelievable. There could not be a show.
Like
there could not be a show better than ours as far as picking games.
Nobody in America and the world was better than that had a bet. We were on fire all year, other than 2 weeks.
We set the bar very high for next year, I have to tell you. But we use numbers as far as, hey, they have a running game. They have trouble stopping the run. They have trouble stopping the pass. They have a passing game. That's the numbers we use. We didn't use metrics. And we used our eyes. Like you said, we used our eyes, and we were unbelievable. You could go back, folks, and look at the howtobet.com archives. We were unbelievable. It couldn't have been a show better.
Yeah. If all these numbers and metrics mean something, how come the Dodgers don't win the World Series every year? How come all this, like, how did the Braves win the World Series? And how does, Gonzaga, the metric king, how do they never win anything? It's always these teams from the ACC or Villanova, or because Villanova's got Jay Wright and they got great players, and the ACC's got great players and great coaches, and they play against really tough teams, and the whole league is good, and they play the style of basketball that wins you games in these tournaments. It's not about metrics and stuff. Like, you have to take all that stuff with a grain of salt. You can't use your system or whatever to make this stuff all the time. You have to have some kind of an eye test and look at it, and you have to, that's why it's good to listen to me, Daryl and I, obviously, because we're unbelievable at picking stuff, but like Daryl watches all these games for ESPN. I watch, soccer and basketball and thing. I watch 1 million games. That's what I do. I watch the games and I have a feel for the game. I coach the game. I did all this stuff. So like, I have all the different sides. And I just think the stuff with these numbers, it's got to change, because the way this, look at the bracket right now. Look who's left. Where's the 1 seeds?
1 seeds are gone, other than Kansas.
You got a 15 seed, you got a 5 seed, which no way impossible should be a 5 seed. You have a 11 or 10 seed. You got it's a bracket. You got an 8 seed,
a 4 and 8, yeah,
a 4 and 8. I mean, it's completely ridiculous. You got in the East, you got an 8 and a 15 and an Elite 8. That should never, ever happen. If these tournaments were seeded properly, you're supposed to get 1 and 2. Like that's what you're supposed to get.
That's what they try to achieve. Yeah.
And it's just like it's just ridiculous. I mean,
we knew going in though this was a wide open tournament. I mean, we said that, and we wouldn't have been surprised. We wouldn't have been surprised if 11 got in there again. We were talking about the 11 seeds because the 11 seeds were the highest seeds to advance further, and we were talking about this when the tournament started. We said we wouldn't be surprised if that happened. Well, sure enough, a 15 seed is in, and again, if you saw St. Peter's out of now they renovated their gym. And that's all it is, a gym. They renovated their gym last year. This was the first year for the Run Baby Run Arena. It's gymnasium. It was the Anatelli Center for years. And, folks, I have to tell you, you go to the games, there's maybe 100 people there. Maybe for the bigger games, there's a couple hundred. It was a dingy gym. With benches for seats.
What about the campus? Let's talk about the campus.
Yeah, I mean it's Jersey City is
Jersey City's nice, getting nicer now, but
yeah,
they're going to get some money from this tournament though. So
they're going to get big money. They're going to get big money from this tournament. Hopefully, it helps. There's no way possible that Shaheen Holloway stays there, and not because he doesn't want to, because it's a business. Look, at the end of the day, you're looking to feed your family as a coach. And St. Peter's can't possibly, even with the influx of this money, can't possibly pay him what another school will pay him. Now everybody has him going to Seton Hall, which is his alma mater, but
he's above that.
I think so. At this point, I think he could choose a lot of different jobs that are open there, but we'll see. He's a Jersey. He played at Seton Hall, so we'll see where he goes. But we'll leave that for later on. Let's get down to the games. Remember, please, you watching us on YouTube, go to howtobet.com. Hit that like button, the notification bell. Hit that subscribe button. Most importantly, hit that subscribe button. You're going to get promotions from various different sports books around the country, including today. As you look at that scroll during this show, you're going to see FanDuel. You're going to see PointsBet. You're going to see Betfred. So just they're giving you free money. Take a look at the bottom of the screen. You're going to see these, but get to howtobet.com. And again, there's various sports books around the country giving promotions, including the 3 I just mentioned. So get there early, get there often, howtobet.com. All right, so let's get to it. Things start today. Let's see, it is
6:09 Eastern Daylight.
6:09 Eastern Daylight Time today. So what do we show? You're the genius. What do we be 9 hours away from this here thing? Or a little bit. I wanted to be like a professional brother. So 9 hours.
8 hours and 40. 8 hours and 50
under
minutes.
9 hours away from tip off.
8 hours and 50 minutes, give or take a few seconds.
Yeah, there you go. All right. So anyway, here we go. So the game is in San Antonio to kick off this the Elite Eight. Houston -2.5 against Villanova. The total is a low 128. Houston, just a very impressive win against an Arizona team. Again, they just convinced me. Again, I tell myself this every year. The Pac-12 is so soft. They just manhandled Arizona. Defeated them 72-60. Arizona, they wanted no parts of this Houston team that's very physical, defensive-oriented, great rebounding team. They'll go up against a Villanova team that beat Michigan. They did it on defense. They couldn't shoot the ball. They held Michigan to 55 points. They win 63-55. They had an off night offensively for sure. Again, it is a team that has become, I say it all the time. You win, you live by the three, you die by the three. They did not shoot the three well. However, they played great defense. Jay Wright came up with a great scheme to keep Dickinson from scoring or from hurting them, the Michigan center, because the one negative to Villanova is their inside game, their interior game. So Houston's now the favorite in this game, 2.5. I could see why they're the favorite. They're very impressive. We said from the day the bracket came out and we did our first show, we said Houston should not be a 5 seed. They're better than that. So, but in this case, you do have a 5 seed Houston 2.5-point favorite against a 2 seed Villanova. Look, I've had Villanova the whole way through. I am nervous about this for Jay Wright and the Wildcats.
All right, look, if Houston gets out to a 5-point lead at any point in this game, it's over. Like I can't. They were wire to wire in that game. I mean, they just go wire to wire. Like they just get out and they press the pace. They got good guards. I mean, it's a really good team. And I think, obviously both you and I had Arizona winning the tournament. So, yep. And I think it was a toss-up game, that game against Houston. It wasn't because Houston beat them by 12. But, I didn't think, if Houston was somewhere else, I probably would have had him in my Final Four. I just thought Arizona was the best team. But now I'll be honest. I think this team is probably the favorite to get to the final on that side of the bracket. I think they're better than Kentucky or Miami. I think they're better than Villanova. And I think this line at -2.5 is a little bit low.
I'd say,
again. I mean, they don't get any really respect with the books, but it's hard to say that because the line was only 1.5 against the number 1 seed last time. But I love Houston here.
Yeah, I think again we say the eye test. Vegas definitely had the eye test when they made them when the game was 1.5 against the number 1 seed. They bullied them. Now on Villanova's side, they do have, to me, the best point guard in college basketball. How can you say that? He's not going to play in the NBA. He's probably not going to play in the NBA, but he still does. He runs the show. He controls the tempo. Gillespie's the guy.
I think he's I'm a little bit worried. I think he's a little banged up right now.
The knee. He turned that leg. He got that leg caught under the other night. But I think he'll definitely answer the call.
Yeah, of course.
I hate to go.
Houston, it's going to be interesting.
You hate to go against Jay Wright here. We haven't mentioned Kelvin Sampson. I'm not a big fan of him personally, but he does a good job. You can't deny that. He was in the Final Four last year. So I have to go. I have to go with Houston here minus the 2.5. I just can't see
total for Houston too. 65.5. I think Houston goes over that too. This team's really good.
Yeah, it's a really good team. So 2.5. Neri, what do you think about this game? You think you think Villanova has a shot here?
They have a shot. I mean, Jay Wright plays the long game. He's not a one and done guy. So these guys have been here 3-4 years now. So they're prepared for this. I mean, Houston though, that was, not knocking out all of our unofficial number 1 over Gonzaga. So I'm rolling with the momentum. I'm going to stick with Houston on this one also.
Yeah, so Houston, that game's in San Antonio today at 6:09 Eastern time is the tip-off on that one. Now let's go to the San Francisco. Let's go out to San Francisco. Game number 2, Arkansas and Duke. It's an impressive – both teams were impressive. Arkansas knocks off the overall number 1 Gonzaga 74-68. And again, look, Mark Few's a really good coach. He gets really good teams. It's a little spot in Spokane, Washington. I mean, he's carved out quite a niche. It's a future 30 and 30. If you can put that together, document how well he's done in little Spokane, Washington. If you've ever been there, and I have, to Gonzaga, you'd be amazed that he gets these players that he's getting. So yeah, it's again, they fall short of a national championship, something that a lot of people had them doing. They don't even get to the final 8 here, the Elite 8. So again, it's a shorter season than expected for Mark Few and Gonzaga. This Duke team, everybody knows, Coach K, last year, it would be an unbelievable story if he can get this done. Again, this is tonight's 8:49 is tip time, by the way, Eastern time from San Francisco. Duke, 3.5-point favorite. The total is 147.5. The total is telling me something here, Sean, because this Arkansas team, I mean, they get after you. They make it difficult for you. They held Gonzaga under 70. 3.5. Again, this is tough to go against this Arkansas team right now, but I do think Duke is the better team. Benchero, I mean, this kid can really play. They had five players in double figures, all five. Now, the one thing about Duke is they don't go deep. They don't go deep at all. And I know at this time of year you don't go to the bench a lot, but they are really short off the bench, and that could come to a play against this tenacious defense of Arkansas.
Yeah, look, I mean, the whole country's rooting for Arkansas, I think, other than, North Jersey and maybe Durham. And I would love to see Arkansas win, obviously. But I don't see it. I can't imagine they win this game. I think Duke probably wins this game. They're a better team, but I would love to see Arkansas win, but I'm not picking them here.
Yeah, again, it's hard to get against Duke right now. They've been very impressive.
The line is moving towards Arkansas, which is telling me that a lot of the money's coming in on the Razorbacks, which obviously scares me a little bit because the public doesn't win these games.
It's true. Now, the Duke Texas Tech game at tip, I had Duke +1 at tip. That game was going. I know what's the difference +1. It's a pick 'em at that point, but the game was going up and down as far as who was favored in that game. Most people I know took Texas Tech in that game. I took Duke. It was definitely touch and go for a while. I took Duke, but like I said, Texas Tech coming off an impressive performance. The Notre Dame game kind of scared some people off of Texas Tech, but they were impressive coming in. Like I said, most people I know had Texas Tech, but Duke showed that they're very impressive. What a talented team. Young, but talented. So youth could be an issue here against this Arkansas team that's got something going. Remember, Arkansas was in the Elite Eight last year as well. This is not a fluke. This is a really good team.
I've been talking about this Arkansas team for months. I mean, I just think, they kind of, they were very good in the SEC, and I think Kentucky had some issues. Kentucky was really good at Rupp, but they had some issues on the road, and Alabama's Alabama, and LSU is a disaster. They don't have a coach, and some of these other teams, Auburn, I didn't think was very good, but this Arkansas team has really just been really steady all year, and I would
early on.
What's that?
Early on, I was riding them. I was riding them.
I wouldn't be stunned to see them win this game, and if I bet Arkansas, I obviously take a shot on the money line. I wouldn't. I don't even know why you take the point. I mean, you could, but I think either Duke wins it or wins it comfortably, or Arkansas wins the game. So I would take a shot on that money line, but I don't expect much from. It's going to be 8 versus 5 on the court, obviously, for the rest of the season whenever Duke plays. So let's all pray that Arkansas shows up.
Yeah, I mean, you can. He's a UNC guy, so he does not want Duke around, and I don't blame him. I don't think you want a Duke UNC game.
If that happens,
Coach K's swan song.
We ruined the last game at Cameron. I mean, if that happens, obviously I'll embrace it and just hope and pray that, God is on the side of the good and not the evil on the other side.
The light blue, not the
Blue
dark
Devils.
Light blue.
Yes, the light. The God. Yes, God favors the team playing against the Devils, but it is what it is. I would embrace it. But look, North Carolina's got to beat St. Peter's, though.
Yeah, and of course those guys. The Final Four will be in New Orleans this year, and you're right. We're going to get that game in a minute. Remember, go to howtobet.com. Howtobet.com. Go to the site. You're going to see various different offers from sportsbooks around the country, including the ones you see scrolling on the bottom of the screen right now. That is FanDuel, PointsBet, that Fred. So get there now. Get there early. Get there often. Get there all day long for these promotions. They're giving you money. They're giving you money. So
Free
take
money.
advantage of free money. So take advantage of it. We appreciate them being part of howtobet.com. Go to howtobet.com. You on YouTube, hit that like button, the notification bell, the subscribe button. Please subscribe. You are watching us and listening to us live here, our howtobet.com podcast. We'll be back at it next week to run down the Final Four and the championship. So we appreciate it. We know you have like a trillion different options, so we do appreciate you watching and listening to us here. And again, if you were with us all season long through football, I know you're happy. I know you made some money. You had to, if you listened to us and put any money down, because we were unbelievable. I've had a pretty good tournament here. It hasn't been great. It's been pretty good. I've gotten better as it's gone along. Last night I hit 3 out of 4, which is a good night. The only loser I had was UCLA. Again, I've learned my lesson. I think I say it every year, but I'm telling you, Sean, hit me over the head if I take Pac-12 teams to go further than the Sweet 16. And even at that point, I'd like to stop Pac-12.
Last year they had 3 in the Elite 8. I mean,
I know. And UCLA, who was a playing team, did make that run.
And Oregon State was a 12.
Yeah. They're soft when they have to start playing these teams that are a little more rugged, that are defensive oriented. They have trouble. They kind of fold up a little bit. It's a soft conference. Believe me. I know everybody talks about the Big Ten, and yes, but we've been saying that for years when it comes to tournament time. Pac-12, soft. All right, let's go to Philadelphia. The St. Peter's Peacocks, 15 seed. I know we are. Well, I'm in Philadelphia. Yes, you are too. We are in Philadelphia, but let's take the fans to Philadelphia. St. Peter's, the 15 seed. Everybody's going to talk about it. It's going to be on every show, not just every sports show. It's going to be on every show in America. Everybody's talking about the Peacocks. It was National Peacock Day last night, and wow, that's all I could say. Wow, we said there's no way they could beat Kentucky. There was no way they could beat Kentucky. They beat Kentucky overtime no less. Then it's Murray State. They were a 9-point dog. It ends here. Not that Murray State's Kentucky, but Murray State's a 30-win team. They're a 9-point favorite. It ends here. They beat Murray State. Then it's Purdue with a 7'4" center, an NBA, future NBA player, Ivy, supposedly well-coached team in Painter.
Oh.
There is no way it ends. Great run. Cinderella ends here. There's no way it can go any further. They get down in this game fairly late in the game, as they did against Kentucky. They don't care anymore. They believe that they are as good as any team and any players they play. They beat Purdue. They came back to beat Purdue. It's an unbelievable run. Again, if people aren't familiar with the MAC, it's a heck of a conference. It's competitive. It's as competitive as any conference. It is coached so well. They don't get McDonald All-Americans. It is coached so well throughout the conference. If these coaches had the players that Duke and North Carolina, they'd be unbelievable. Believe me, it is so well coached throughout the whole entire conference. Not just Shaheen Holloway, who has done a great job. Not just Rick Pitino. Every coach in that conference is terrific. It is very competitive day in and day out. Been around it for 30 years. And I'm telling you, it's terrific. It is very much a matchup-based conference. Again, we said at the top of the broadcast, there were people going when the tournament got to Atlantic City, there were people hoping to get St. Peter's in the MAC. Stay away from Iona. Get St. Peter's. I'm telling you. And that's how amazing this ride is for the Peacocks. So now they are an 8-point dog again, dog throughout the whole tournament. Not surprising that they're a dog again, obviously. UNC, North Carolina, making a heck of a run. What a talented team they are. Love was sensational last night. 8-point favorite. Totals 133.5. This game is tomorrow at 5:05 Eastern time. Purdue loses to St. Peter's. UNC takes care of UCLA 73-66. Neri, 8-point dog. We've been saying for 3 games now, no way. Ends here. Ends now. Does it end here?
Listen, not that they're an underdog by any means necessary, but UNC's kind of been our underdog throughout this tournament as well. St. Peter's, nothing scarier than somebody with nothing to lose, but I don't think they can match up with UNC here. Unfortunately, I think it ends for the Peacocks.
That's familiar words, Neri. Familiar words I've heard. You'd be listen, it's good value. If you want to take them on the money line, you're getting some really good value today. But or tomorrow.
It's 280. It's funny. You remember the commercial? Neri probably doesn't remember his time. Remember, it's all about the shoes.
All about the shoes.
Spike Lee and
his
character and the Jordans, and Caleb Love last night at halftime had 3 points, and those switched into the Carolina blue Jordans there and just absolutely annihilated them in the second half. 27 points,
27.
And they just kept leaving them open. All right, I'll hit that. All right, I'll hit that. And the thing with North Carolina is, Baycott was a little bit banged up with his back, which, you'll see hopefully get some treatment there. But you got, Brady Manick, who's a monster, and he's, 6'10" guy shooting threes and spacing the floor. And you got Leaky Black, who plays unbelievable defense, and at 6'7", got a lot of size. North Carolina's got a huge size advantage. And, all year, I think, in the middle of the season, North Carolina had a little bit of a blip where they were losing some games. And, people kind of, they're out of the top 25. People had them on the bubble, all this stuff. But their size gives so much problems to teams. And when you look at their stats, man, look at the numbers of them this year scoring. They score, 78 points a game, 78.3 points a game. In the tournament, they scored 95 and 93, 73 against the UCLA team that likes to slow stuff down. They score a lot of points. And I know St. Peter's likes to slow teams down. I just don't. Hubert Davis is going to watch that game tape and see that guy from, Matt Painter designing no plays for the center. And Baycott is going to get the ball a lot, and Manick is going to get the ball a lot, and they're going to use their size. And 8 points is a lot. I don't know about the 8 points. Obviously I had North Carolina at plus 2,500 to come out of the East. So obviously, and I'm a North Carolina fan, so I believed in them. And look, I didn't just bet them because I like North Carolina. I bet them because I thought they were the best team in this bracket, and I thought they had the best matchup of any 8 seed with Baylor. It was proven right because they were up by 25. And I don't know if they're going to cover. I don't know, maybe plus 8 is a lot. At some point, St. Peter's probably gets beat. I don't think they're winning the national championship. They're still in it. They're one of 8 teams left. But maybe I'll bet it down a little bit and put it in a parlay, but I just don't see North Carolina losing this game.
So I'm going to give you numbers for St. Peter's. They've won now 10 in a row. The last loss was against Siena, where they gave up 70 points. That was back on February 20th. Let me give you some numbers here. These are some regular season numbers and then MAC tournament numbers for St. Peter's defensively. They allowed 65 to Monmouth. They beat Niagara 63-36 the next game, 36. Then they allowed 51, 41, 63, 52, 54 in the MAC championship. Kentucky in overtime scored 79, 60 to Murray State, 64 to Purdue. So, yes, they came in as a defensive-oriented team. That's what they do. That's what they've always done. Even before Shaheen Holloway, John Dunn had them playing, just defensive style, slowed down, sometimes boring half-court defense. Now they're running up and down a little bit more than that, but they are all about defense. They have Casey Nadefo is back-to-back Defensive Player of the Year in the MAC. I can't give 8. I mean, I can't give 8 anymore against this team. They believe they belong, and they have the guards running around. They're, I for St. Peter's, there's no question in my mind. If St. Peter's watching the game, they were hoping UCLA would hold on and win that game because they matched up better against UCLA.
Yeah.
But I can't give 8 in this game. I got to take St. Peter's.
I'm going to give you some other numbers here. So in the last 16 games for North Carolina, right, dating back to January 29th, they've scored 84 or more, and half of them 8, 190, 94, 84, 88, 94, 95, 93. In a game against Virginia, who not the same St. Peter's, the same defense, they beat them 63-43 on March 10th. Absolutely pummeled them. Manic had 21. Baycott had 11 rebounds. In some of these games, when they played, Baycott's had 22 rebounds, 13 rebounds. Baycott's going to be huge on the boards, obviously, and they're going to limit those second chance opportunities. I just, I think 8 is a lot too. I wouldn't tell anybody to take North Carolina -8 here, but I don't know. I don't know where you go here, but I just don't see St. Peter's.
Neither do I. Nobody. I mean,
would you take them on the money line?
Again, only St. Peter's thinks that St. Peter's is going.
Well,
everybody else that tells you I'm taking St. Peter's is only doing it as a wish, a hope, and a prayer. They don't really believe that.
I think you could have taken them, last game on the money, not the money line, the on the spread, obviously -12 or +12.5. I think that was a pretty good bet. I think against
I had them last night.
It was the same thing. I mean, it was a pretty high line.
Yeah.
Obviously against Kentucky, no one had that game. I don't know.
I went against them. I thought Kentucky was going to pummel them because of the size.
Yeah.
Because of the size.
Once you see that game, though, it's these next 3, and then they win the second round game. You're like, man, -12.5. So now the line is a little bit more. It's 8. Like it's not. North Carolina. If this was a regular season game, what would the line be in this game?
Oh,
15, 20?
15. At least 15. Yeah.
You got to take that into consideration now. I mean, some of that as well. But it's not a regular season game. It's an Elite 8, and people are going to be. It's gonna. There's emotions and all this.
It's really an incredible story. Hey, remember, go to howtobet.com. Take a look at the promotions from sportsbooks around the country, including the 3 we have featured scrolling on the bottom of your screen: FanDuel, PointsBet, Betfred. They're giving you money. So go to howtobet.com. Take a look at the promotions that we have there. Also, you watching us on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button, the like button, notification bell, but most of all, subscribe. And we do appreciate that. You're watching us live on howtobet.com or howtobet.com podcast. So let's wrap this up. Our final game tomorrow at I went out of a sequence, and that was my fault, Sean. I even said, Neri, do me a favor, change them up. I went out of sequence. I did that. The first game we talked about is the final game of the Elite 8. That was 5:05 Sunday, 5:05 tomorrow.
It's a better game anyway.
5, yes. Tomorrow, the first game is at 2:20. It is Miami of Florida. Jim Larrañaga doing a great job against the only number 1 seed left in the Kansas Jayhawks. Kansas, a little surprised this low, even at this point, 6.5. Miami's flying around with those 4 guards and 1 big. Kansas, though, looks so strong. 6.5, total of 147.5. It opened up after the game, that total at 151, down to 147.5. This game's played at Chicago tomorrow at 2:20 Eastern time. Miami did what they had to against Iowa State. Miami was the better team in that one. Kansas, Providence made it a game. Kansas up all game long. Providence got it within a bucket. And Kansas then pulled away 66-61 final. I don't say that Kansas was so sharp in that game, and they weren't, but it's a tough matchup for Larrañaga. Now, I was in the stands when Larrañaga took George Mason in an upset win. I believe I was either in South Carolina or North Carolina. It was a long time ago. He was head coach at George Mason. They made that terrific run. They were a Cinderella story there. But to me, this ends here, and I'm going to lay the 6.5.
It's tough. Remy Martin, he's averaged 8.6 points a game. Obviously, the grad transfer from
Arizona State, yeah.
From Arizona State, and I thought he was a pretty good player there. But he's been really good in the tournament. The last 2 games, he's had 20 against Creighton and 23 in just 27 minutes. He had 23 points and 7 rebounds and 20 points and 7 rebounds in the game 4. Not bad for a 6-foot guard. So, I think he's been good. The only thing that some of the other players, he's stepped up when some of the other players haven't been as good in this tournament. And, obviously Miami is overachieving here. For me, Kansas, Houston, Duke, and North Carolina are the 4 best teams in the tournament left. Right? That's just pretty clear to me. And Miami made a really good run here, but Kansas is really good. I really missed on them. Once again, the Big 12, I think we just kind of underestimated the Big 12 a little bit, and Kansas is really good, and they have some big wins all year, and they just do what they do all the time, man. Bill Self just makes deep runs with these teams.
Yeah, it's a good team as always. It's again, would anybody at this point be shocked if Kansas won this? Of course not. They're number 1 seed. They're the only number 1 seed team left. As a matter of fact, I am trying to find here. Okay, so here is the so do you like? Are you laying the 6.5 in that one?
Yeah, and I'm going to take Kansas over 76.5. I think.
I kind of like the 147.5 to go over the total as well, but I do like Kansas in this game. I do like Kansas. So Kansas. This is what I have as the updated odds. Kansas, the favorite now at plus 270.
I got him at plus 280.
All right, so I guess it depends where you look. Again, go to howtobet.com.
Do you use him?
Books. There's all different sports books. This is right now. This is PointsBet.
Okay.
Let me.
Houston at plus 360 is interesting.
All right, so Houston at plus 360. Again, there's different. Go shop around for odds if you like a specific team. That's for sure. And go to howtobet.com. Go to our site to do it because, again, you're going to find all kinds of sports books there. Houston at plus 360. Duke at plus 400. North Carolina Tar Heels at plus 550.
How about that? They were plus 20,000 before the tournament started. I got them at plus 20,000.
Well, I'll tell you something funny. Well, I'll get to it in a second. North Carolina plus 550. Villanova at plus 600. Arkansas plus 1,000. Miami plus 2,000. Of course, St. Peter's plus 3,000. Before the Purdue game last night, St. Peter's, I saw on one site, plus 33,000. Plus 33,000. They are now 3,000. So that's all you need to know about the Peacocks right now. Don't sleep on the Peacocks right now. Jersey City, New Jersey. Jersey strong, as they say.
They're talking about the Peacocks flying, but the Peacocks don't really fly. They run and they can glide for a little bit.
They can dance.
I have news for you. St. Peter's basketball team doesn't fly. They take buses everywhere they go. Now they're on charters. They didn't have to charter to Philadelphia, but trust me, they take buses everywhere. They don't fly. And I can tell you without a doubt, they have never been on I shouldn't say never because they did get the NCAA tournament under John Dunn. They haven't been on a charter plane probably more than once because when you get to the tournament, they will charter you in the 30 years around the MAC. So, yeah, not only don't Peacocks fly, neither do the Peacock basketball team. They take buses. All right.
They sure can dance, though.
They can sure dance. This is a whole different. Lifestyle right now. Eddards got an NIL with Buffalo Wild Wings. It's an incredible run. I'm really happy for all.
Nutley, New Jersey, man. Nutley, New Jersey.
Yeah, it's a great story. It really is a great story. He's become an overnight sensation. Shaheen Holloway's an overnight sensation. It's a great run. Personally, for me, I hope they continue. I would love to see it. I've been covering that for years. And look,
Hope they
you would probably like to see it against any other team other than the team they're
I hope
playing.
they get beat by 50 tomorrow.
and I just don't see it happening. But there you have it. Again, we appreciate you watching. We appreciate you listening. You on YouTube, hit that like button, the notification bell, and please subscribe. We appreciate that so much. Go to howtobet.com. There are various sports books around the country, tons of them. You go there, they're giving you different offers. It's great. It's there all the time, not just for March Madness. So go to howtobet.com. On the bottom of the screen, you see the scrolls for 3 specific sports books: FanDuel, PointsBet, Betfred. They're giving us money. They're giving you money. So take advantage of that. We appreciate you watching us live this morning. Again, 4 games going on, 2 today. Houston, Villanova. That's at 6:09 Eastern time. Arkansas, Duke at 8:49 tonight. Then tomorrow, 2:20 kicks off tomorrow. That's Miami and Kansas from Chicago. And then right here in Philadelphia at 5:05, we'll find out the teams heading to the Final Four as St. Peter's, the Cinderella story, takes on UNC from the Wells Fargo Center. So, Sean, it should be the tournament's great. This should be a heck of a weekend. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's 4 games to get to the Final Four, and it's once again, there's only 7 games left in the college, because I'm not counting the basketball classic or these other things, man. There's only 4 games left. It's 7 games left in the NCAA tournament, and then we're on to USFL and all this other stuff. But
soccer, baseball. We're glad they settled, so we'll be doing baseball for you. And then before you know it, we'll be back with the NFL. We'll do, of course, we have NBA, the playoffs. Looking ahead. Yeah, right.
Generals.
So yeah. The Philadelphia Stars, where I got my sports star. Actually, my sports star was with an indoor soccer team. I don't know if you know this, Sean. Indoor soccer team called the New York Arrows.
Who was it?
Shep Messing. New York Arrows.
Okay.
Shep Messing played out of Long Island, New York. And still know nothing about soccer, but that was my start as an intern. Then the USFL, Philadelphia Stars, and then it's been sports from there for my entire life. Anyway, there's my story. Again, go to howtobet.com. Various sports books around the country. We have 3 featured today. We gave you FanDuel. We gave you PointsBet. We gave you Betfred. Get there early and often. We appreciate it. Hit that like button, the notification bell. Hit that subscribe button. We really appreciate it. Thanks so much for joining us here. For Sean the Genius Miller, Neri Rodriguez, I'm Daryl Fine. We will see you next week to wrap this college basketball season up. Thanks again. How to Bet, go to howtobet.com.
Let's go Tar Heels.